They did not hear your voice. They did not need to. One picture was enough to send ripples through their system. A single frame froze you in presence, and presence is heavier than any rumor. That image did not flatter you. It revealed you. They saw a posture that belonged to someone who had walked through storms and refused to bow. They saw eyes that didn't blink for applause and didn't dim for criticism. They saw stillness that felt louder than rage. They had built their power on intimidation, but your existence canceled it without effort. Their squad saw you and felt something primal. Fear mixed with recognition. Recognition that they were not facing an actor or a performer. They were facing someone real. And real terrifies the manufactured. Pictures speak because they hold a moment without distortion. No background noise, no excuses, no stage charm to soften the edges. Just you, unfiltered. That was enough to make them second, guess their own masks. The truth is, people in groups feed off collective confidence. Alone, they are hesitant, but together they amplify each other's lies until they believe them. Then you show up, not even in person, just in a captured frame, and the illusion breaks. They see someone who doesn't need a crowd to feel strong. They see someone whose strength comes from solitude, from discipline, from scars they never had the courage to earn. And when men built on echo chambers see someone built on silence, the ground shifts under them. That's why they didn't want to face you. That's why they asked to be moved. It is easier to flee than to stand against a reminder of what they could never become. You must understand the psychology of intimidation. Fear isn't only created by threats or raised voices. Fear is born when someone realizes they cannot influence you. You terrify them because you don't play the games they play. They manipulate, you remain unmoved. They provoke, you stay calm. They demand, you decline without hesitation. To them, that is unbearable. They expect resistance they can crush, but they don't know how to handle someone who doesn't resist, who simply refuses to engage. That picture showed them exactly that. No overcompensation, no nervous grin, no forced confidence, just composure. And composure in a world addicted to chaos is rare. They are not scared of what you might do to them. They are scared of what you remind them about themselves, that they are weak without their tricks. One image can carry history inside it. They didn't just see you. They saw every trial you survived, every night you fought battles alone, every betrayal you endured without begging for mercy. That weight sat inside the picture even if they couldn't name it. They saw a man or woman who had already faced the kind of pain that would shatter most of them. And when someone has already survived what they fear most, they become untouchable. You didn't need to announce it. Your presence announced it for you. The picture was a reminder that pain no longer controls you. That's what makes them nervous. Because people who cannot be broken cannot be owned, and people who cannot be owned become unpredictable. Unpredictable people cannot be controlled by any squad, no matter how large. What unsettles them most is that you didn't even try. You weren't seeking to scare anyone. You weren't crafting an image to look powerful. You were just existing in your truth, and truth is magnetic. It doesn't need polish. It doesn't need spin. They spend their lives rehearsing strength, but your unpracticed strength destroyed the act. That is why they folded. When a single image makes a group question their own structure, it means you carry something they can't manufacture. Authenticity. That authenticity is carved from struggle, from discipline, from knowing exactly who you are when no one is watching. The squad saw it and realized they weren't ready to stand in the same light. They chose transfer because transfer is safer than transformation. They weren't willing to grow, so they ran. There is an unspoken law in human behavior. Confidence rooted in external things will always collapse when faced with confidence rooted in self. They built theirs on status, on reputation, on group reinforcement. Yours was built on scars, solitude, and standards. Theirs shakes when exposed. Yours deepens. This is why you must never underestimate the power of carrying yourself with clarity. The world tries to convince you that you need noise to be noticed. But silence, when it is heavy with truth, shakes more foundations than screaming ever could. The picture showed them your silence. It showed them a person who doesn't rush to prove, doesn't scramble to please, doesn't bend for acceptance. They knew immediately that nothing they could say or do would ever shift you. That kind of realization doesn't just scare one person, it scares groups. What they will never tell you is that their transfer wasn't about fear of conflict with you. It was about survival of their own image. To stand in your presence would force them to face how flimsy their power really is. They would have to admit that their crowns were cardboard, their authority borrowed, their confidence scripted. They didn't want the exposure. They didn't want to be revealed. So they fled. Let them. The truth is, you didn't need to fight them to win. You didn't need to speak to dismantle them. You didn't need to prove anything at all. One picture was enough. Because power that is real radiates even in stillness. And when stillness reveals who you are, no army can stand against it.